very welcome back. Now, our next guest was one quarter of one of the biggest boy bands of the noughties, Blue. And over the years, they had 3 massive #1 hits globally, 3 #1 UK albums, and sales of over 16 million records.
Now, he's since gone on to be a big hit on both stage and screen, and is now on a mission to raise awareness of cauda equina syndrome after a terrifying experience with the illness. Duncan James joins us on the line. You're very welcome to the show. Good morning, Duncan.
Hi, Duncan.
Good morning and happy birthday to you, Simon.
Thank you, pal. I appreciate that. Listen, we were talking during the break about this cauda equina condition. I, like most people, and I'm sure like yourself, had never heard of it, Duncan. How did it come to you? How did it arrive in your life, and what is it?
Well, basically, I was touring around the country in the UK and Ireland. We were doing a musical called Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and I was having to wear all different types of heels, as you do in a show like that, because I was a drag queen, which was amazing fun. But I started to get a lot of problems in my back. I started to get a lot of back pain. And you know, the whole saying of the show must go on. So I just kind of ignored it and just carried on, because we were having sellouts every night. And I just thought, I've got to make sure I'm on that stage. So we were doing things like, you know, massage and acupuncture and all kind of treatments to try to make my back feel better, taking anti-inflammatory tablets, all sorts of stuff. And then basically I was in Bristol in England one day, and I woke up in the morning and I couldn't move. And I thought I'd slipped a disc. So I somehow managed to get on a train back to London. I had to lay on the carriage floor, you know, like in the middle where people were having to step over, because I couldn't sit. It was just the most agony I've ever been in. If anybody's slipped a disc before, you know how painful it is. I got to the hospital and they gave me straight away something called a root block epidural in my spine to take away the pain. And I was sent home. And during that process, in that kind of next, I would say about 16 hours, I started to lose numbness down my left leg. And then when it got really severe, I realized I couldn't actually go to the toilet anymore. I lost bladder control. Wow. So then I literally went back to the doctor and I said, look, something is not right. And they said, okay, well, let's get you in for a scan then. And they literally got me in an MRI scan. And halfway through the MRI, the radiologist came out and he said, you need to have emergency surgery. Your disc has fallen on your sciatic nerve, your S1 nerve, and it slowly started to suffocate the nerve. And if we don't get it off now, you're going to start to go into cauda equina syndrome. And then basically the repercussions of that are going to be terrible. You might never be able to, you know, potentially walk again. You might lose bladder control for the rest of your life. You might have to be catheterized, all sorts of stuff. So, you know, I was you know, late 30s then, and I started to really panic and think, this is crazy. You know, I need this operation now. And of course, the longer you leave it, the more severe it can get. So it was just a race against time for me. And unfortunately, I couldn't get my surgeon. He was already busy doing another operation. So I had to wait until they found a surgeon that was, you know, competent to be able to do this type of operation that I needed.
So getting that operation, Duncan, and getting it fast was absolute priority. Had you had a kind of a string of symptoms in the build up to this that, as you say, you kind of ignored because of the pressure of being on stage every night?
Yeah, and you know what I'd done was, before the run had started, I always had like niggles in my back. And so many people suffer with back problems, but you know, I went to get a scan. I went and had an MRI scan, and it showed that I had a slight protrusion in one of my discs, my in my lumbar spine. I had you know, it was sticking out a little bit. And there was talks about maybe having an operation to shave it off. But that would have put me out of action for, you know, for about 5 weeks, a month or so. And I thought, well, I can't. I'm in the middle of a run of a show. I can't do that. I'm going to have to just, you know, try to numb the pain and just work through it, which is stupid, really, because, you know, so many times in our lives we put our work first before we put our health. And I think what's really important, we have to listen to our body, and our body tells us so many things. And sometimes we just ignore what our bodies are telling us, and then we end up in serious trouble.
But as you say, in our business, the show must go on. You know, and you're in great condition, and you know, I know from doing 8 shows a week, you've got to be in a reasonable condition to tackle a role like that, because as you say, you're touring for one, you're doing 8 performances a week, you're in heels, it's quick changes, dance routines. You've got to be in some sort of physical condition. So it must have come as a real surprise to you that it's not just a niggle, it's not just a pulled muscle or a sore back, and I can't just get through with anti-inflammatories. When the diagnosis came and then you had to have surgery, I mean, that must have floored you mentally as well, did it?
Oh, massively. You know, you go from being really fit and healthy, being able to run around, and the next minute, you know, I came around from the operation and I still couldn't feel any feelings down my left leg. And still to this day, 4 years later, I'm completely numb down my left leg. And that is because I went into the beginning of cauda equina syndrome, and basically the nerve was damaged and it hasn't been able to repair itself. And it's been 4 years now. And you imagine the nerve is like a blade of grass. And if it gets trodden, you know, a piece of grass gets trodden on, you know, it takes a long time for that piece of grass to be able to stand up straight and grow again. And it's a bit like what the nerve is. So yeah, I still have numbness down my left leg. I can't walk great still. I have to wear orthotics in my shoes. If I don't have the orthotics, I walk with a limp because I can't feel my left foot when I walk. It's really weird.
Wow.
And the most weird thing is I always put things in my back pocket, not thinking, like my phone or my keys. And I'm sitting down and I'm panicking, like, where's my phone, where's my keys? And of course, I've got no feeling in my left. So I can't feel it. I don't know they're there. So I'm always losing my stuff, and it's always in my back pocket.
Well, you're talking to us this morning, Duncan, to raise awareness of the syndrome. We just brought up some of the red flags. Maybe you'll just remind viewers of what to look out for. You mentioned the lower back pain, bowel dysfunction, leg weakness, and sexual dysfunction as well is another element of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it can. It can really affect, for men, your erections and being able to just go to the toilet, go for a wee-wee. You know, that's the thing that I was most worried about, you know, that you want to go to the toilet, but you can't. And I was catheterized for several weeks. I think it was probably about 3 weeks I had a catheter in. And every day the doctor would come around and he would clamp the catheter and see if I could feel the fact that I needed to go to the toilet. And it's weird. I couldn't feel nothing. It was like I'm being numb. And eventually, after about 3 weeks, he clamped it, and I got this sensation that I need to wee. And I was like, oh, my God, thank God. Because every day I was thinking, please, let me be able to, you know, have this catheter out. Let me be able to go to the toilet on my own, something that we just take for granted. We do, you know, all the time.
It's a real case of taking each day as it comes, really, Duncan, isn't it? Let's talk about...
it is.
Let's go back to where it all began for you with Blue. First of all, tell us how the band came together, because that's a great story. Where did you guys meet?
So actually, we got together, can you believe it, 20 years ago next year. It's our 20th anniversary. And yeah, I know, we are older men nowadays. I'm catching up with you now, Simon.
Yeah, you are. Quickly. So you guys met, you were working together in a holiday camp, is that right?
I was working in a holiday camp and I went for an audition in London. And in the audition, I met Lee and Anthony, and basically, cut a long story short, we got cast in the band. And we had 2 other members in the band with us. They ended up getting dropped on the day we were signing our record deal.
Oh my God.
And then we went on a mission to find a 4th member, and that's when we got Simon, who we all had met through the audition circuit as well. And Simon was actually living with Lee. Lee and Simon were really good friends prior to Blue anyway. So we got Simon in, and Blue was born.
Incredible. And what an incredible success you had with Blue, Duncan. I mean, millions of albums sold, strings of Brit Awards. You even represented the UK in the Eurovision.
Yeah, I tell you what, we never sold as many albums as Westlife. They
You can't beat the Irish, Duncan. Sorry about that.
But
what was your kind of peak Blue moment? Because there must be a whole lot of kind of surreal moments for you to look back on.
I think for us, getting to work with Elton John was probably the highlight of our career. You know, getting to, first of all, work with Elton and then do a music video with him and get to sing with him in the music video was just incredible. You know, we did Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word, and Elton was just such a delight to work with, such a lovely, lovely guy. Very funny. I remember we all went out with him and he invited us over for dinner to say thank you and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, he was just the loveliest guy. And we had such a privilege to work with a legend like Elton. It was just incredible. It was a real pinch yourself moment. Yeah. You know?
Would it be safe to say, though, now, Duncan, that you've found your home in terms of on-stage musical theatre? Because you've done quite a few of them now at this point. You seem to have found a niche there for yourself. Are you happiest there, would you say?
Yeah, I was actually at the Bord Gosh Theatre just over a year ago with the Rocky Horror Show.
Yeah.
I was doing Frankenfurter there, and I loved it. And bless Louis Walsh, come and saw me. And
you're wearing heels again, Duncan. What's this telling us about you?
Yeah, I know. it must say that my back got better enough to wear heels again. So that's a good thing.
Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you for bringing awareness to us.
Thank you.
And to the audience here in Ireland about it. And you're, of course, an ambassador for the condition now. And listen, stay healthy, and hopefully we'll see you on stage very soon. Thanks for joining us, Duncan.
Take care, Duncan.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks a million. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Thanks, Duncan. Now, after the break, lamb and pork burgers. That'll work for your Friday night tea. See you soon.